Okay, so after discussing the whole not guilty by reason of insanity plea with Letecia Stauch and the recovery addict group and community, I really wanted to research the whole criteria for how can you determine if you can even qualify or I guess plead for, regarding the not guilty by reason of insanity plea. It does vary state by state, obviously, which most things do. And Matthew Harris, attorney at law, you let me know if I'm not hitting the nail on the head on any of this because this is all kind of new. But, however, we're going to break it down real quick. So, from what I have researched for Colorado, there is a series of 2 evidence-based assessments. The first assessment is the test of insanity. So this determines if the person is diseased or defective in mind. Are they capable of identifying right from wrong with respect to the acts? So the second kind of point would be that it can be caused by moral depravity. So like terms typically defined as antisocial personality disorder. They said psychopathy, but that's not really, as a clinician, that's really not like a clinical term, but neither is insanity. Whatever. Okay. Cannot be a crime of passion, so you can't, have any kind of like revenge, hatred, or just kind of sudden urge of passion. So when I think of crime of passion, I think of, walking in and finding, like the movie, crap, I'll think of it, with Bradley Cooper, Silver Linings Playbook, when he walks in and sees his wife in the shower with another guy and he just kind of loses it. Like, that's what I think when I think of crimes of passion. Okay, so it can't be any of those things. The second test is a different assessment, an evidence-based assessment, of course. And this one will determine if the person suffered from a condition of mind caused by mental disease or defect that prevented the person from forming a culpable mental state. So this is almost always like a psychotic diagnosis. So schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder. I don't know if dementia falls into that category, but I'd like to know. Sometimes intelligence level, when they say, they might use a term like mental retardation, something like that, or just, something along those lines. So the mental disease also cannot be due to substances. You can't say like, I drank a ton, I blacked out, I didn't know what I was doing. However, that's a fancy but my client says sometimes. If somebody drugged you and you did something because of that, apparently that could qualify or possibly be a case that you could plead not guilty by reason of insanity, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so what does this mean when it says culpable mental state? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's move over here because right here. Okay. Sorry about the shakiness. Again, I'm not editing. This is just gonna be like fresh. Okay. So the culpable mental state. So this is the mens rea. So that is has multiple crime statutes. So mens rea is kind of like, do they knowingly kind of do it? Do they do it with intent? So knowingly would be like general intent. Like, you know what? They cheated on me. I think I'm going to kill them. The with intent would be specific intent. So the person's objective is to cause the result. Okay, how am I going to kill them? I think I'm going to, take them to the shooting range, pretend like I practice, and then just, whoops, I shot him. Or something like that. These are bad examples, but bear with me. Okay, so so that's with intent. Then there's with deliberation. So this is when they really kind of contemplate. So they're thinking about whether or not the crime should happen, how it happened in a particular manner, the wheres, the whens, the ins, the outs. Okay, and then there's the reckless mental state. So that would be, and I'm not going to say name, but let's say there was a boating accident and the person knew that if they drank a ton and they drove the boat, then something possibly could happen, possibly or probably happened, and it was going to be a danger, and they just disregard the substantial risk to anyone, and especially regarding the acts or the crime. So the burden is on the prosecution, of course, and no pressure, right? But so as far as Leticia Stauch goes, there's a couple things that stick out to me. Number one, I I think she didn't know right from wrong, or she wouldn't have tried to hide it and come up with all these different stories. I think this is just my opinion. I do not have a law degree, but I do have a clinical social work degree. So the other thing that stuck out to me was this week, I think that they mentioned when she got her teaching license, or when they found like documents with her passport, there was a behavioral kind of analysis or something that says like, okay, she can definitely work with children and teach. I don't know if that's going to be held against her, because it's saying like, no, she's stable for the most part. So I guess, I mean, hers might be like, the one thing that sticks out is that, you know, with deliberation, you can think about it seconds before. I mean, that's still, you thought about it and you did it quickly. So that's something to think about. But also, yeah, she's, you know, able to book hotels and follow directions. I mean, even with a GPS, I do not know where she's saying, like, you get on this route and this route and this street. I have no clue. I'm honestly like about 20 minutes away from my house. It's a rough ride. So that's just not my intelligence category. So I think those are going to be held against her, and also just orchestrating and organizing all of the things, definitely. And I mean, really, you know, you have to think about too, like, when I think about, I guess, reason of insanity, I think that they are just a stable instability. They, you know, and yes, she was being a little bit erratic or acting out and like flipping the bird, and it's like, maybe everyone has their breaking point kind of thing, but for the most part, she's stoic. She's kind of like, you know, not, I guess, she's regulating her mood somewhat effectively. So and I don't know what happens behind closed doors. I don't know if that's a front. You know, everybody has to approach things different. Attorneys tell you to do different things. I just think that this is going to be a really far stretch. I'm not sure what her, because I'm sure, you know, she had to take the assessments, of course, and I'm sure that there's going to be a psychologist that comes and then a rebuttal. But, and who knows, maybe she would skew test results. But even if you break it down after the test results, it's really difficult. And in fact, I mean, she was really kind of, you know, she contemplated a lot, and she really kind of, she kept up the act for a while. So I don't know if someone wasn't, I guess if there's an insanity plea, that maybe they wouldn't be able to do that. That's just my opinion. I'm not sure. You know, like I said, Matthew Harris, you could rip this apart, do whatever you need to do. Let me know your opinion too. So what do you guys think? Is this a far reach for Letecia Stauch? Do you think, I mean, obviously it's such a heinous crime that, you know, part of you, I think, I know, part of me thinks for a second, well, there has to be some kind of insanity type of situation, because who can do this to a child, especially a child that you took care of, and that was, I mean, part of your husband who you love, and it's so heinous and just unbelievable, and so calculated, and the lying. It's almost like adding insult to injury, because this poor man, you know, lost, I mean, if first of all his child's missing, but then two, he's going down all these different avenues, as she says, barking up the wrong trees. But anyways, so yeah, I'm just curious to see what you guys think, and let me know. Bye.